Waves of black ripples spread out from the grand cauldron, echoing in all directions. As they reverberated, the entire space around them seemed to twist, as though countless afterimages were appearing. On the front of the grand cauldron, shrouded in black mist, a human face slowly materialized. The face was enormous, occupying nearly half of the cauldron's front. Though the face was blurry, from a distance, it was faintly recognizable as Wang Lin's. This grand cauldron was the core of the cave mansion, an extremely mysterious artifact. Anyone who entered would have their appearance reflected on the cauldron, like a seal for their soul. The moment Wang Lin entered the cauldron, the world before him unfolded, a dim, boundless space. It seemed endless, as if there was no end in sight, yet there was an illusion that with a single step, one could cross it. In the entire space, there was only one object, a large yellow flower. Its roots were deep in the earth, and its branches reached into the sky. At this moment, it was in full bloom, filling the heavens and the earth with its presence. The flower was simple, with only 5 petals. Though it emitted no fragrance, looking at it for a moment caused a brief illusion, as if the flower did not exist at all. On this giant flower, there were some fine droplets of dew, exactly 300 of them. The 300 droplets shimmered with a crystalline light, and from a distance, they seemed to give off a dreamy aura. Wang Lin stood in midair, facing the flower. His expression was calm. He possessed the third soul, and though it wasn't fully integrated, he could still access some memories, including thoughts about the core of the cave mansion. This must be the 300 broken realms, Wang Lin muttered. From the memory of the third soul, he learned that this was the original site of the Seven Colors sect's retreat. According to its design, once this place was sealed, it would activate protective forces to prevent anyone from entering. However, due to the death of the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable, the intrusion of Lian Daofei, and the betrayal of the Seven Paths sect disciples and the Immortal Consort, the protective forces had been damaged and had changed. Wang Lin was particularly concerned about these discrepancies with the Third Soul's memories. Seeing the yellow flower and the 300 droplets of dew, he let out a sigh of relief. It seems this first flower, like the memory of the Third Soul, hasn't changed. Wang Lin had only learned of the 300 broken realms after obtaining the Third Soul. When the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable created the cave mansion, he had failed 300 times. Though those 300 failures were incomplete worlds, they lacked many essential elements. These weren't chosen by the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable until he succeeded with the 301st world, which became the current cave mansion. The 300 failed realms weren't discarded. Instead, the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable had refined them into protective forces for his retreat, which evolved into these 300 drops of dew. If the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable hadn't died, his divine sense could have altered the established laws in these realms by scattering his consciousness into them. Each drop of dew represented one realm. Since the 300 broken realms in this first flower still exist, I can slightly alter my plan and use this place as a hunting ground for now. I can't kill the Seven Colors Taoist or the War Ghost yet, but the others, with the help of the 300 broken realms, I should be able to eliminate some of them. The more I kill, the greater my power will be when I face the other 2 souls. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. In the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable's cave mansion, within his third soul, there was a hidden secret. This secret was unknown to outsiders, even to the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable, the War Ghost, the Immortal Consort, and the 4 Great Generals. It was the final killing move left by the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable in the cave mansion realm. If Lian Daofei had not arrived unexpectedly, and if the Seven Colors Immortal Venerable hadn't been heavily wounded and closed in seclusion, he would have had time to activate this killing move. The outcome of that battle would have been different. It was because of this secret that Wang Lin was confident in executing this hunt in the cave mansion realm. And to activate this killing move, there had to be enough slaughter here. The 300 broken realms. Very interesting. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and he took a step forward. In an instant, he approached the massive flower and stepped into one of the droplets of dew. The ripples on the dew spread like a vortex, and as Wang Lin's figure disappeared into it, the ripples slowly calmed down. The dew seemed small, But once inside, it held an entire world. The dew seemed like the sky at the boundary, magnified endlessly in Wang Lin's eyes. When he finally understood his surroundings, even though he had some understanding, his mind still shook. He was in a starry sky. The starry sky was dazzling, filled with nebulae, and there was an eerie silence all around, with no signs of life whatsoever. As Wang Lin's divine sense spread out, it gradually enveloped this vast expanse of the sky. Its size was comparable to the ancient Kungsu star domain, neither too large nor too small. As for the cultivation stars, there weren't many. The entire star domain only had 9 cultivation stars, all of which were devoid of any vitality. No living beings, no life forms. From his third soul, Wang Lin learned that these 300 broken realms could be broadly divided into 3 types. The first was the one where the Rainbow Immortal Venerable had once placed the immortal beasts he had brought from the immortal Aura continent. Over countless years, these beasts had either died or mutated into powerful beings. The second type was where the Rainbow Immortal Venerable had once abducted a group of mortals from the immortal Aura continent, bringing them here to breed. His aim was long-term observation, trying to decipher the secrets of the heavenly Tao from their generations. As for the third type, it was a realm devoid of life, beasts, or any signs of vitality. This world had no defined laws, and if an enemy entered, the Rainbow Immortal Venerable could temporarily set new laws based on the invader's characteristics. The third type of broken realm was further divided into 2 categories. The first had never had any predefined laws set by the Rainbow Immortal Venerable throughout the countless years. The second category, however, had laws set long ago by the Rainbow Immortal Venerable, which still operated today. Regardless of which type it was, unless one had an immortal indestructible body like Lian Daofei, it would be extremely difficult for anyone to force their way through these 300 broken realms. One had to be cautious, for a small mistake could lead to death and annihilation. Especially in the first type of broken realm, where the immortal beasts resided, no one knew if strange changes had occurred over the countless years, making it a place of potential peril. Wang Lin did not fully understand the 300 broken realms, as he had not yet completely fused with the third soul. He only knew about 7 or 8 out of 10 aspects of them. At this moment, standing in the starry sky, his gaze swept around, and suddenly his eyes flickered. This should be the third type of broken realm. But I wonder, is it the first or second category? With a swift motion, Wang Lin shot forward, moving as fast as a long rainbow, crossing endless distances in the blink of an eye. His figure appeared among the 9 cultivation stars within this starry sky, flickering across them rapidly as if searching for something. But in the end, he found nothing. As time slowly passed, half an hour had already slipped by, and the outer formations he had set earlier had consumed some of his energy. Now, only a small portion of time remained. Standing on the 9th cultivation star, Wang Lin furrowed his brows. There is no memory of predefined rules in the third soul. It seems that the Rainbow Immortal Venerable's divine sense can sweep through and change the rules of the third type of broken realm. After pondering for a moment, Wang Lin spread out his divine sense again, covering the entire star domain. As he swept through it repeatedly, his eyes suddenly narrowed. He vaguely sensed an invisible ripple within the starry sky, echoing through the vast expanse. The ripple was extremely subtle and difficult to detect. Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and he locked onto the ripple, gradually sensing its origin. As the last remnants of time passed, he realized the ripple came from the 5th cultivation star he had scanned earlier. With a flicker of his body, Wang Lin disappeared. When he reappeared on the 5th cultivation star, he rushed toward a mountain peak located on the star. The peak was stark, resembling a sharp sword piercing into the clouds. Beneath the mountain, Wang Lin's gaze flickered as he sensed that the ripple was emanating from this very mountain. Could it be here? Without hesitation, Wang Lin gathered his divine sense and focused it on the mountain. No matter how he observed, the peak appeared utterly ordinary. Let's test it. Wang Lin's divine sense surged toward the mountain. As his divine will sent out the command, the world shook with a deafening roar. The entire star domain violently twisted, as if it were on the brink of collapse. Vaguely, a rule seemed to be born, But just as it was about to fully materialize, everything suddenly quieted down with a rumbling sound. Wang Lin remained floating in midair, his brow furrowed. This broken realm can't muster enough power to form such a rule. Then let's try another one. At that moment, the outer cave mansion gate fully opened. The storm dissipated, and both the Rainbow Taoist and War Ghost rushed in. Slowly, all the cultivators began to enter. The Rainbow Taoist was the first to arrive. He scanned the area with a slight frown, then quickly darted toward the Grand Cauldron. Beneath it, the ruins showed no reaction as he passed through them and disappeared into the cauldron. Next, War Ghost stepped forward, merging with the Grand Cauldron and vanishing. On the sides of the Grand Cauldron, the faces of the Rainbow Taoist and War Ghost appeared, faintly surrounded by black mist, making them appear somewhat grotesque and terrifying. The third to enter was the Palm Sovereign. Just as he was about to step over the vast ruins below, his expression changed. He immediately halted, his eyes flashing. With a quick hand seal, he became invisible, hiding himself from view. After him, Blue Dream Tao Sovereign arrived. His eyes narrowed as he looked down at the ruins. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and he calmly stepped forward, walking straight into the Grand Cauldron. The ruins below remained unchanged. The Palm Sovereign, hidden nearby, furrowed his brows. One of the immortals from the ancient immortal domain beyond the boundary sighed quietly as his body swayed forward. No change occurred in the local restrictions, and as he moved closer to the cauldron, the others who had entered followed his lead. Several of them immediately focused their gaze on the ruins below and halted in their steps. However, a few others, like the ancient immortal before, failed to notice and stepped into the ruins. As soon as they did, their expressions changed drastically. A red thread suddenly appeared before them, bursting with a blinding crimson light, and instantly enveloped them all. A thunderous roar echoed as blood-red threads appeared above the ruins, densely packed and forming an obstructive barrier. The few within the threads screamed in agony as they rapidly retreated. This sudden turn of events left the ancient immortal, who had previously made it through the area unharmed, stunned. He quickly turned to see the sea of blood threads blocking his line of sight. His eyes flashed with lingering fear. After a brief hesitation, he turned and stepped into the Grand Cauldron. The Palm Sovereign, hidden in the shadows, smirked coldly. But let's set aside what was happening here. The ancient immortal who had fortunately passed through the ruins and entered the cauldron was an elderly man from the Seven Paths sect. His cultivation was not particularly high, and within the dim world inside the cauldron, he now faced a gigantic flower, covered in dewdrops. The trio from Blue Dream had long disappeared. The elder from the Seven Paths sect hesitated before cautiously observing the flower from the outside. After a long while, he chose one dewdrop and carefully absorbed it. At the same moment, atop the mountain where Wang Lin sat cross-legged, he suddenly raised his head and looked toward the sky. He's here. The first one. It's a pity his cultivation is low. With this level of power, he thinks he can sneak around here, ignoring my previous warning. He's courting death. I'll use him to test the rules I've set here. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed coldly, his divine sense expanding as he focused on a swirling vortex in the starry sky. The vortex spun continuously, and a blurry figure slowly emerged within it. In an instant, the figure fully materialized, and the vortex vanished. The figure was the previously lucky elder from the Seven Paths sect. As soon as he appeared, his eyes filled with alertness. His divine sense swept the area, but with his cultivation, he was unable to detect Wang Lin's presence. Frowning, the elder hesitated for a moment, then took a step forward in the starry sky, intending to dash away. However, as soon as his foot moved, his expression shifted. He had missed his footing, and his body began plummeting downward at an alarming rate. This sudden shift stunned the elder, and his face turned pale in horror. It felt as though all his flying power had been drained, and even with his cultivation, he could not stop himself from falling toward the ground. At the peak of the cultivation star, Wang Lin's eyes shone brightly. It's working. The broken realm here is indeed interesting. Unfortunately, I've tried many rules, and only the flight prohibition is fully formed. It can affect magical treasures, and the impact on the physical body varies with cultivation. Wang Lin raised his right hand, and immediately a flash of bloodlight appeared. The blood sword shot out at incredible speed, disappearing into the sky, heading straight toward the elder. With the speed of the blood sword, combined with Wang Lin's divine powers and his mastery of the shrinking earth technique, it flickered and appeared several moments later far ahead of the plummeting elder. The elder was in panic. In this brief period, his descent had generated an almost gale-like force in the starry sky, pounding against his body and causing loud thuds from within. He fought to suppress the unprecedented panic and raised his right hand. A whip appeared, which he immediately dropped under his feet, lifting his body upward. His face was pale, and he still could not comprehend why he had lost the ability to fly. But he had no time to think. In the distance, a flash of bloodlight appeared. Just as the whip had lifted him, a streak of light shot through his forehead. The elder coughed up blood as his forehead exploded in a burst of blood mist. His body trembled, and his physical form immediately shattered. Even his soul was destroyed by the blood sword, and he died on the spot. At the moment of his death, Wang Lin made a hand seal and raised his hand toward the sky. The third soul flew out of his body, enveloping the hand seals with it. Sacrifice flesh and soul, merge into my body. The moment his words left his mouth, beside the dying old man, who was on the verge of collapse in the star domain, a pitch-black arm suddenly appeared. This arm was wrapped in dense black mist, and with a grasp into the void, it seized the shattered flesh, essence, spirit, and soul of the old man, vanishing into the starry sky. The blood sword flew back, transformed into an illusion beside Wang Lin, emitting a low buzzing sound. Wang Lin lowered both hands, reintegrating his third soul into his body, his eyes flashing with cold light. I can sense the restrictive formation. It has only killed 3 people so far. Adding this one, it is still far from enough. Wang Lin murmured for a moment, slowly closing his eyes. His divine sense spread across the starry sky, awaiting the next entrant. If no one enters within 7 days, we'll have to switch to another realm. At this moment, in the core of the cave mansion, within the first flower of 300 dewdrops, all those who had entered this place existed here. The 300 broken realms. Wang Lin now sat, waiting for the second entrant into his dew realm. Time passed slowly, and in the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. During these 5 days, Wang Lin did little other than wait, spending most of his time immersed in his third soul, attempting to absorb more memories. At the same time, he remained vigilant. If the second person to arrive was the 7 Colors Taoist or the War Ghost, he would leave immediately. This was one reason why the flight prohibition rule existed here. He had enough time to leave at his own pace. Such a pity I can't set a restriction against a mortal bloodline here. Otherwise, we could have a real fight. But I guess none of these 300 broken realms can achieve that. After all, they are just broken realms. Wang Lin sighed inwardly. 5 days passed, and by midday on the 6th day, Wang Lin suddenly shifted his expression. He quickly looked up at the celestial canopy. His divine sense spread across the starry sky, and he clearly saw a vortex appear in the eastern star domain. They're here. I wonder who it is. Wang Lin's figure flickered as he suddenly stood and took a step forward. His body merged with the void and disappeared without a trace. Although there was a flight prohibition rule here, it had a time limit, and Wang Lin had already passed that limit, so it no longer affected him. Outside the vortex, Wang Lin's figure took a step forward. The blood sword in front of him trembled, seemingly thirsting for blood, but it was so intelligent that it made no sound. Wang Lin's gaze flickered as he focused on the vortex. He raised his right hand and waved it forward. Instantly, both he and the blood sword vanished. Wang Lin had already made preparations. If it was the 7 Colors Taoist or War Ghost, he would leave without hesitation. The vortex emitted a booming sound, its rotation accelerating rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it became impossible to distinguish, with 3 blurry silhouettes slowly appearing inside. These 3 figures, trapped within the vortex, were invulnerable to attacks. The best time to strike would be when the vortex dissipated. However, Wang Lin did not act immediately. Instead, he focused, studying them closely. As the 3 figures emerged, Wang Lin's heart already formed a judgment. These three people were highly unlikely to be the Seven Colors Taoist or War Ghost, but Wang Lin still refrained from acting, waiting for the figures to fully clarify. Soon, the vortex gradually dissipated, and the three figures became clearer. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with killing intent as he saw them clearly. These three were wearing robes distinct from those of cave mansion cultivators. Their robes were identical to the old man he had previously killed, indicating that these three were from the Seven Paths sect of the ancient Immortal Domain. The immortals from the outer realm ancient Immortal Domain had varying levels of cultivation. Among them, one had reached the early void nirvana stage, while the other two were only at the second step, the fifth decay of heaven and man, and had not reached the third step. Just as the vortex dissipated and the figures fully materialized, Wang Lin made his move. The blood sword in front of him flashed, roaring forward. Wang Lin also took a step forward, closing in instantly. He was incredibly precise with his timing. As the three figures barely got a clear view of their surroundings, and before their divine sense had fully expanded, one of the second-step immortals had his head separated from his body in an instant, blood flashing as the blood sword howled past. The second person, blood splattering from a fellow sect member, was horrified and began to retreat. But before he could react, his pupils were replaced with a white shadow. Wang Lin pointed, closing the distance instantly, and his finger landed on this person's brow. With a thunderous roar, this person collapsed and died. The entire sequence was so fast that in the blink of an eye, two of the three were dead. The early void nirvana cultivator didn't hesitate. He took a step back and reached into the void with his right hand, pulling out an incense stick. As he retreated, he was about to light it. However, before he could even begin, he suddenly screamed. Before he could light the incense, his body plummeted rapidly toward the ground. This sudden turn of events caused his face to change dramatically. Blood flashed as Wang Lin swung his sleeve, forming a hand seal, which struck down toward this person. With a thunderous sound, the immortal was first pierced through the chest by the blood sword, then crushed by Wang Lin's palm. Blood sprayed as his body collapsed violently. Three people were killed in less than 3 breaths. Wang Lin was about to leave when suddenly, his expression shifted, filled with surprise. He swiftly turned around, revealing a renewed killing intent in his eyes. More people are coming. His divine sense spread out, and a whirlpool suddenly appeared in the starry sky thousands of miles away. Within it stood a figure, a blurry silhouette that seemed more feminine than masculine. Moments later, the whirlpool began to show signs of dissipating, and the figure within became clearer. It was a woman, dressed in a purple long dress, her flowing azure hair making her appear incredibly beautiful. Any mortal who saw her would surely be captivated. Even cultivators often found themselves stirred with desire, contemplating the idea of using this woman as a furnace for alchemy. This woman was none other than the purple dawn of Zhao River, the 7th consort of the Rainbow Immortal Venerable. Unlike her fellow consorts, this woman was extremely loyal to the Rainbow Immortal Venerable. Years ago, she had even scolded Wang Lin, and if it weren't for the Li Guangbao's influence, she would have harbored murderous intent upon sensing Wang Lin's conflicting thoughts. Her cultivation was formidable. Before Wang Lin grasped the seal origin, fighting her would have proven quite difficult, but with the Li Guangbao in hand, she was cautious of him. However, now that he had mastered the seal origin and his Daogu inheritance was far stronger than before, coupled with Yimo's right hand and the unexpected rules of this place, things had flipped. Even without the Li Guangbao, Wang Lin was capable of killing this consort. Senior Qing Lin once said that the heavenly coffin was once this woman's possession. She must know some secrets about this place. Wang Lin squinted, raising his right hand and waving it forward. In an instant, the blood sword howled and surged ahead, while Wang Lin's figure flickered and vanished. The blood sword behaved unusually, no longer silent or stealthy, but roaring through the air, its sharp sound piercing and overbearing as it flew thousands of miles through the void, charging directly toward the figure that gradually emerged from the dissipating whirlpool. This intense howling could stir the mind, instinctively causing one to take a step back. Yet the purple dawn did not retreat. Almost as soon as she saw her figure sharpen, She immediately felt an overwhelming killing intent rush at her, the roar echoing around her. In an instant, she spotted the blood sword racing toward her. Her expression changed as a murderous aura surged around her. So he is here. Standing still, she raised her right hand and summoned a vast expanse of purple mist, which coalesced into a purple phoenix that screeched as it soared toward the blood sword. At the moment of collision between the purple phoenix and the blood sword, a resounding explosion erupted, a great whirlwind that seemed to shake the stars. Numerous cracks tore open, manifesting in this star domain. The purple phoenix shattered, but the blood sword couldn't advance either, being forced backward. The dissipating whirlpool behind the purple dawn soon reappeared. Aware that Wang Lin had used the Liguang Bao several times, she was uncertain if he had any strength left. In her moment of hesitation, she lifted her right hand, causing a jade slip to materialize, ready to flee and send a message for reinforcements. She was also well aware of Wang Lin's immobilization technique, so before taking out the jade slip, she decided to leave first, enabling the whirlpool to appear. With that whirlpool leading to another broken realm, the immobilization technique's effect would be obstructed, and given her high cultivation, she could withstand it. This woman was scheming and incredibly cautious. She would not take risks lightly. However, just as she was about to crush the jade slip, Wang Lin's figure manifested in the distance, his voice echoing through the starry sky. Truly deserving of being the most beloved seventh consort of the Rainbow Immortal Venerable. After revealing himself, Wang Lin spoke slowly, his words strikingly abrupt, yet the purple dawn understood. Wang Lin noted that she had remained utterly motionless the entire time, which was peculiar behavior suggesting that this woman not only knew about the 300 broken realms, but also understood the rule variations in this place. But as long as she did not step forward, the rules would not affect her. However, once she did take that step, she would be entirely enveloped by the rules of this realm. Wang Lin understood this very well. The Purple Dawn also recognized it, even knowing more than the other consorts. That was why she had explored a dozen broken realms, remaining still upon entry while sending out her divine sense to attract others. If you wish to leave, Wang will not see you off. Wang Lin glanced at the Purple Dawn holding the jade slip and turned to leave, though a dark tide washed over his heart. The earlier disciples of the Seven Paths sect had taken out incense sticks to ignite, and now the Purple Dawn was presenting the jade slip, indicating they had reached a certain agreement upon entering this place. This development made things complicated. Zixia is being overly cautious. If she decides to leave, with her cultivation level, I won't be able to keep her here for long. However, let's not rush to conclusions about whether this communication jade slip is meant for Qicai or Zhan Laogui. Her words from years ago seemed very loyal to the Rainbow Immortal Venerable, and she is linked to the 4 great generals. In that case, she could very well be sending a message to them. But even if it's for Qicai or Zhan Laogui, it doesn't matter. I was prepared for this potential encounter. It's just that Zixia is so careful. If I can't kill her this time, after becoming more cautious, it will be even harder in the future. As for the Liguang Bao, it's not the right time to use it now. Wang Lin's heart stirred. At this moment, when he turned to leave, his figure seemed a bit hurried, but it was concealed almost instantly. He then raised his right hand and waved it behind him. Immediately, the blood sword silently approached him, only to soon leave again. As Wang Lin was about to disappear into the distance, Zixia and the vortex hesitated once more, holding the jade slip and unsure whether to send the message. That Wang Lin possesses the Liguang Bao, but he clearly saw my transmission jade slip and still chose not to take it out, leaving immediately. His movements were somewhat hurried. Could it be that he was injured in a previous battle before meeting me? Also, he only used the flying sword for his attack, never showing any true strength. Most notably, the sound of the sword's whistle was louder than the attack itself, almost as if he was trying to scare someone away. Could it be that he's heavily injured and unable to use the Liguang Bao? My leaving might have fallen perfectly into his plans. If I send a message with the jade slip and my guess is correct, the 4 great generals will steal the 3rd soul. I won't stand for that. But this person is crafty. Is he truly injured, or is it just an act? Zixia's expression changed. She couldn't make up her mind. As she watched Wang Lin's figure nearly disappear, She caught a fleeting glimpse of hurriedness in his posture, as if his injury was being suppressed, a subconscious bodily reaction. If he really is injured, this is a rare opportunity. If I can kill him and acquire the third soul, whether I give it to Zixia or Zhang Laogui, it would be a great achievement, and I would gain protection in the immortal firmament continent. Zixia gritted her teeth, about to abandon her decision to leave and chase after him, but hesitated again. She raised her right hand and swiftly waved forward. Immediately, the purple mist enveloped the area, and a purple flying sword appeared out of thin air. With a buzzing sound, it shot straight toward Wang Lin. Let's try again. If his actions are too obvious, then there's definitely something suspicious about this. Zixia's gaze flashed as she stared intently ahead. The purple flying sword was incredibly fast, whistling as it closed in on Wang Lin, reaching less than 100 yards behind him in an instant. Wang Lin suddenly turned around, his eyes flashing with cold light. He raised his right hand and quickly pointed his index finger upward. As the purple flying sword, with a hint of void nirvana cultivation, was about to reach him, he flicked his finger at the sword's tip. At the moment his finger touched the sword, Wang Lin's thoughts spun rapidly. He abandoned the idea of showing injury and instead unleashed his cultivation power, causing a violent eruption from within him. His origin forces, except for the seventh seal, all erupted, surrounding his body. This fierce explosion converged into his right index finger, creating a deafening roar. With that roar, the flying sword trembled and shattered, turning into purple mist that spiraled away. Wang Lin's body swayed, but he didn't retreat a single step. He stared at Zixia in the distance, a murderous intent flashing in his eyes. With the 6 origin forces surrounding him like a rainbow, there was no sign of injury. Wang Lin coldly sneered and turned to leave. Zixia, watching from within the vortex, saw his figure fade, but her eyes gleamed brightly. He is injured, and it's definitely not a minor injury. If he was pretending, he would have acted more weakly to lure me into chasing him. But he didn't. Instead, he revealed his full cultivation, clearly trying to cover up the truth of his injury. Only someone who is truly wounded would act like this, afraid that others will see through him. Especially as she observed Wang Lin's figure in the distance, a vortex subtly forming around him, clearly preparing to leave this realm. She was now absolutely certain. I was right. Wang Lin, you can't escape this time. They say you're as sly as a fox, but you've left a clue this time. Zixia put away the jade slip and stopped transmitting any messages. A greedy look appeared in her eyes. Fearing that Wang Lin might escape if she delayed, she moved without hesitation, stepping out of the vortex. As she stepped out, the vortex disappeared, and she completely gave up on leaving. But just as her foot was about to touch the ground, her body suddenly plummeted downward. This sudden change caused Zixia's face to change dramatically. Not good. At this moment, Wang Lin suddenly turned around, a flash of murderous intent in his eyes. His body instantly appeared, blood lights soaring into the sky, turning into a long rainbow that shot straight towards Zixia. All of this happened in an instant, not giving the departing Zhao River a single moment to react. She didn't even have time to retrieve her jade slip before the blood sword struck directly toward her forehead. In her pupils, Wang Lin's figure filled her entire vision. A blood arrow sprayed from Zhao River's chest, staining her purple dress. It didn't appear red, but a deep black. Beneath the torn clothing, her skin subtly revealed, evoking a heart-stirring sensation. The blood sword pierced through Zhao River's chest. As blood poured out, the sword trembled, emitting a humming sound that seemed to resonate with excitement. The blood sword carried a murderous aura. Once it tasted blood, it would never turn back. As the blood spread across her chest, Zhao River's face turned pale, and she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. As she fell, she tried to pull out a treasure to steady herself, but Wang Lin wouldn't give her a chance. Almost as soon as the blood sword passed through, Wang Lin appeared in front of her, his figure filling her shrinking vision. He slapped out with his palm, his origin power moving with ease, blasting forward. There was no time for Zhao River to react. The fire origin howled into existence, transforming into a massive vermilion bird, screeching as it pounced on Zhao River, wrapping around her entirely. The power of the flames surged uncontrollably, its might overwhelming. Behind the flames, the Thunder Origin transformed into a thunder dragon, roaring as it followed closely, charging toward Zhao River, who was encircled by fire. Life, death, cause and effect, truth and falsehood all emerged in that moment. Wang Lin's eyes reddened, and with the cracking sounds of blood threads spinning, massive blood threads appeared in the air around Zhao River, sealing off all of her escape routes. In an instant, they began to close in on her. The final source of slaughter fused into Wang Lin's descending palm, making it a decision of life and death for all beings. When the slaughter origin emerged, the starry sky turned cold, and red snowflakes materialized out of nowhere, swirling violently in all directions. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Amidst the roar of 6 origins, Zhao River coughed up 3 mouthfuls of blood, her body sinking even faster. From beginning to end, she had no chance to take out any treasures. She didn't even have time to form a hand seal. Amidst the rumbling of the 6 origins, Zhao River saw a massive hand penetrating her origins, directly landing on her forehead. With a loud boom, Zhao River spat out more blood, and her body cracked with bloody fissures, as though she were about to be torn apart. Excruciating pain bombarded her mind. Even her origin soul was struck by the power of this palm, leaving her face deathly pale, a wave of despair spreading within her. But just at that moment, her sinking body suddenly paused. The prohibition on flight showed signs of dissipating. However, everything had been calculated by Wang Lin. Just as the prohibition was about to fade, Wang Lin stepped forward, raising his right hand and pointing at Zhao River. Freeze. A freezing technique enveloped her, stilling her body, spirit, and soul, even locking the heavens and earth, and the entire universe in place. Zhao River's body was instantly trapped by this technique. Even though the flight restriction began to fade, she could not stop sinking, unable to retrieve any treasures. Even her thoughts were frozen by Wang Lin's finger. Suppressing the backlash force, Wang Lin took a step, closing the distance between him and Zhao River. His right hand quickly tapped her 9 times. Each tap sent a shiver through her body, infusing her with sealing power. With all 9 taps, the seal was completed. An illusionary web-like barrier instantly spread across Zhao River's body, leaving no corner untouched. With a flick of his sleeve, as though he was folding the heavens into his sleeve, Zhao River vanished within the seal, her body disappearing without a trace, taken by Wang Lin. This battle was clean and swift, taking less than 10 breaths. Wang Lin didn't kill Zhao River, as there were still many things on her body that piqued his interest. She was in his hands, and he could kill her at any time. Amidst the flashing bloodlight, the blood sword returned, circling around Wang Lin. As it hummed, Wang Lin stepped forward, and swirling vortexes appeared beneath his feet. His figure blurred and entered one of them, vanishing into the abyss. This world has already been entered by 3 waves of people. It's unlikely there will be a 4th. It's best to leave now. Wang Lin knew that the 300 broken realms were interconnected, allowing passage even without knowing the hand seals, as they could still force their way through. Within the 300 broken realms, in one of the realms, a vortex suddenly appeared in the starry sky. As it spun, the roar of its rotation caught the attention of those within the realm. The White Tiger General stood in the air above a cultivation star, beneath which a 1,000,000-strong army was engaged in a fierce battle. The ground was flooded with rivers of blood, with death lurking at every corner. This was an immense plain, where the 1,000,000-strong army stretched endlessly. Such wars, taking place in the mortal world, were incredibly rare. I didn't expect to encounter such slaughter here. Go ahead, kill. The more intense your killing, the denser the murderous aura will become. Once I absorb this aura, while I won't be able to take it out of this realm, here, it will be mine to use. I was the first to step into this world, and the rules of this place are set by me. Unless it's the 7 colors, or that war ghost, no one else who enters this place can escape my rules. The White Tiger General, having followed the 7 colors immortal venerable for a long time, naturally knew about the 300 broken realms. At this moment, he hovered in midair, his expression filled with excitement. On the ground, the 2 opposing armies each had their generals. One of them, riding a tiger-striped white horse and donning a white armor set, wore a cape made of a full tiger skin. He wore a white tiger helmet, his eyes gleaming with both coldness and excitement. Faintly, it seemed that there was an invisible connection between him and the ethereal figure of the white tiger general high in the sky. Also in the sky, directly in front of the white tiger general's phantom, a middle-aged man was seated in a meditative posture. His face was grim, his body hazy, as though he could be blown away by the wind. His eyes were closed, and his expression showed panic, with sweat dripping down his forehead. Like the white tiger general, this man was also an illusion, not real. Except for the two of them, no one else could perceive these phantoms. On the ground, among the opposing forces, a soldier clad in shattered iron armor stood in a panicked state. He growled and swung his spear, engaging in battle with the enemy, but his body trembled. At times, he would glance up at the sky, showing both anger and fear. His appearance was identical to that of the middle-aged man sitting cross-legged in the sky. If Wang Lin were present, he would immediately recognize the man as the one from the 7th floor of the high tower on the 5-element star. This was the White Tiger's world, and the rules were set by him. At this moment, the White Tiger General's ethereal figure in the sky suddenly raised its head, its eyes flashing with a strange light. At the same time, the general, riding the tiger-striped white horse and wearing white armor below, also looked up at the dim sky, a cold smile spreading across his face. Another one has arrived. Who could it be? The middle-aged man seated in the sky, facing the White Tiger General, immediately raised his head. Upon sensing the vortex forming in this star domain, a cruel expression appeared in his eyes. Come on, let a few more come. Maybe we can kill this white tiger. Damn these rules. In the star domain, as the vortex spun, a blurry figure gradually emerged, slowly becoming clearer. As the vortex showed signs of dissipating, the blood-red light flashed, and the blood sword howled, sweeping through all directions, turning into waves of blood-colored ripples, turning everything within 1,000 zhang into a place filled with murderous aura. Wang Lin stood there, calm, staring ahead. His divine sense spread out and suddenly swept across the surroundings. As his divine sense expanded and his figure appeared, the White Tiger General and the middle-aged man both changed expressions. The White Tiger General's eyes sparkled with excitement as he looked up at the sky and laughed aloud. He really appeared here. Heaven truly aids me. The middle-aged man froze, remaining silent, but a cruel smile curled at the corner of his mouth. Wang Lin's divine sense enveloped the starry sky. This realm was much larger than the broken realm governed by his established rules. It was equivalent to the combined areas of Kungsu and Luotian. However, this cultivation star still only had 9 stars. As Wang Lin swept around, on the 3rd cultivation star, he sensed the presence of the white tiger and the middle-aged man. But he couldn't see their figures on the star. He furrowed his brows and carefully inspected the star domain. This place already has its rules, but I don't know what they are, and why can't I find the figures of those two? Wang Lin's divine sense again focused on the 3rd cultivation star, locking onto the million soldiers engaged in battle on the plain. Suddenly, his expression tightened. After a long pause, understanding flashed in his eyes. So that's how it is. Wang Lin stood still, never taking a step. This way, he could stay outside of this realm's rules and observe everything before deciding whether to enter or leave. Who set the rules here, and who benefits from them? It's not just about what I see, but I must test it out. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he raised his right hand and waved behind him. Instantly, the dissipating vortex roared back into existence. Anyone witnessing this would think Wang Lin was attempting to leave. Wang Daoist, why are you in such a hurry to leave? I've set the rules here. If you dare to step in, let's make a bet. The White Tiger General's voice suddenly echoed through the starry sky, resonating in Wang Lin's mind. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, but internally, he sneered. This test had already given him the answer. A bet on what? On whether you will perish within my rules once you enter. Oh, what is the bet? Wang Lin slowly sent out his divine sense. If you lose, your 3rd soul will belong to me. If you win, I will swear the heavenly oath of immortal ascension, willingly obey your commands, and serve as your slave for 10,000 years. By who? Swear this by my bloodline. By whose voice boomed, causing the starry sky to tremble. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, though a barely perceptible smile appeared on his face.